Good day, everyone. Welcome to Nigeria History Vibes with RichsonKing. So today we're looking at another wild thing in Nigeria history: the Cement Armada of 1974-1975. Cement Armada, not Dangote. As at the time, Dangote was still a young trader, and it was still almost this time later on that he got his license to start importing. But that's not what we are doing today. So picture this. Imagine your boyfriend ordering for you 50% of the world's Domino's pizza just for your birthday. Crazy, right? Yeah. Nigeria actually ordered 50% of the whole cement in the world in the 70s. Now let's dive into this. This was the 70s. General Yakubu Gowon was still in charge, and we're just coming from the civil war of 1967 to 1970, which actually brought down so many infrastructures and stuff like that, so many structural buildings and stuff like that, especially in Lagos. And things needed to be put in place and go and say, okay, so many infrastructural project was implemented and say, okay, let them construct bridges, construct roads, build barracks, build hospitals. So this is supposed to have been the foundation for building most part of Lagos and eventually University College Hospital and a lot of buildings like that. And what was actually needed? Just cement. Simple, right? Actually, in 1970, Nigeria oil revenue was around $200 million. And by 1973, Nigeria oil revenue spiked to over $3 billion. Every year, good morning day. Let's just build Nigeria. Let's just build things like, we just need to start pushing forward and simple. And the Ministry of Defense was in charge. This was actually supposed to be a work that was supposed to be supervised by the civil service, but the Ministry of Defense was in charge. We actually had a cement factory then at Nkalago, but it wasn't enough to handle whatever cement quantity was needed for the infrastructure and development projects to be implemented. So demand was placed for foreign cement to get into the country. As at this time, Nigeria annual consumption of cement was around 2 to 3 million tons per year. That is the whole Nigeria consumption of cement. But guess how many tons of cement was imported? 16.5 million tons of cement. That's not even the crazy part. Let me tell you the crazy part. The crazy thing is that the port could only handle 6.5 million tons of whatever was coming to the country. And yet we are ordering 16.5 million tons of cement. You can't talk about Nigeria. You can't even read Nigeria history without drinking water. Like, you'll be boiling. Like, how did these guys get it wrong? Like, was this actually corruption from the foundation of the onset? Yeah, we're talking about the Cement Amanda. Funny enough, the contract was awarded at around $115 per ton of cement. And guess how much was the international price for cement then? $40 per ton. Corruption, right? Bizarre contracts were awarded here and there. Middlemen, here and there, foreign ship owners, contracts were just awarded that we couldn't even check this later. And the cement started coming in around August in 1974. First batch of cement started coming in. That as at least August of 1974, 20 miles of our coast at the Lagos seaport there, 20 miles stretch outward was filled with just ships of cement, ships loaded with cement. And it was a time where our port could only handle few ships to offload at a time. Only few ships were able to berth at a time. I remember our port could only handle 6.5 million tons of cement per year. And here we are, ordering 16.5 million tons of cement. How many years would they use to offload it? It was so crazy that ships had to stay for over 6 months on top of water. And what was that for? Demurrage. Today's current demurrage is around $20,000 per day. But back then it was 4,000 per day. And this were over 400 of ships with cement, costing Nigeria $1 million daily just for demurrage. That at the end, Just demurrage alone, Nigeria paid around $250 million for just demurrage alone. Imagine, this was almost equivalent to our 1970 oil revenue. Imagine today we are just spending our total oil revenue for just one bizarre project, one bizarre contract. At the end of the day, the thing was not successful. It's also crazy that ships stayed over 6 months on water, and at the end of the day, when they were offloading most of these ships, guess what? The cement were already congested. The cement were already caked, like cake of cement. Why did Nigeria did this? Why did we do this? And this is a country that rely heavily on imports. The whole seaport was congested, meaning no foreign thing could come in. Imagine, take for example, the average Ikena there in Lagos that was waiting for his container. How was he going to do it? How will he cope with demurrage? Or someone that was expecting perishable goods or dairy goods, there will be spoiled. Most things on ships people were expecting were spoiled. And this affected our other goods that are supposed to be coming: consumer goods, production goods, machinery goods, pharmaceutical goods. They couldn't come in. Funny enough, it even affected our export back then. Export of cocoa and granite. Nothing was going in, nothing was coming out. And how will this affect the average Nigeria? Although it's the average Nigerian money that have been spent. It's the average Nigerian money that have been spent just because of corruption. Awarding contracts at $150 per ton instead of $40 per ton, which was the international price. Now, how was this going to affect the average Nigerian on the street again? When nothing is coming in, nothing is going out, and this is a country that depends heavily on imported goods. Inflation, whatever you have then, price will go up, price will spike. That people started queuing for stuffs in Nigeria. This led to hunger and outrage back then. It was actually one of the things, plus the Doji salary award, that led to the later coup in July 1975 that brought in Murtala Mohammed regime of 1975 when General Yakubu Gowon was attending an OAU summit in Kampala, Organization of African Unity Summit in Kampala, and a bloodless coup took place because they saw him as a failed government, they saw him as a failed regime. A time that would have bettered Nigeria. This was in the 70s when the oil money was booming. We would have made good use with the oil money. And it was crazy that we had to start borrowing money to offset our bill. $2 billion wasted on the coast of Lagos. $2 billion wasted on sea. $2 billion wasted on cement that we didn't need. The Cement Armada of 1974, 1975. Like, it was crazy when I was doing my research on it. I was like, huh? And funny enough, we are still seeing that in today's government today. Awarding of contracts, doing chronic capitalism instead of purely capitalism. Award contracts based on I know you, you know me, chop, make I chop. And at the end of the day, we are not seeing the work going on. We'll still look at Ajay Okuta steel mill. Then you see that one. That one is not going area. That one is not going area. So guys, you can see it was crazy with the Cement Armada of 1974, 1975. Of course, I meant to ask that, was it corruption? Was it fair planning? But I can't even ask because I'm already boiling to answer it. It was purely corruption from the awarding of the contract in the first place, inflating the prices to 3x. And then it was bizarre contract that over after Murtala Mohammed took over, they tried to probe into the case, but nothing come out. No man Naija, nothing come out. Nobody was tried. No one was arrested. It was only when audit was done that we knew that it was around $2 billion that was spent. It was when they audited in 1975 that they now go on spent $2 billion on cement that we didn't need. And do you know how much is that money today? Around $10 billion. How much is the presidency of Tinubu using to do Costa Road from Lagos to Calabar? It's not around $11 billion. Imagine what would have done with $2 billion in the 70s. Imagine what would have done with $2 billion in the 70s. Guys, it's a crazy, absurd episode. Purely corruption. Purely corruption. Abstract middlemen, abstract contracts, business contracts. that is no document safe. Like they couldn't trace this to okay, you're in charge, oh yeah, come and give account of this. Nothing. Everyone worked freely. Another foundation for corruption. This one didn't even just fertilize the soil. This one was pure foundation for corruption. So, guys, it's a crazy episode for today. But tell me what you think about the Cement Armada of 1974, 1975. What would have been corrected? How would it have been handled that would have helped Nigeria? What would we have done better in the 70s that we wouldn't have found ourselves in this present situation that we are? Because actually, the 70s, we wasted money so much. Yeah, we even used 90% of our foreign reserve. It was a period of economical windfall for Nigeria that would have utilized, we would have capitalized on it. But the government then, the public servants then, the civil servants then, they misused it. They misused the opportunities then. They blew the oil revenue in the 70s. That in the 80s, we already borrowing money. We already borrowing money from foreign countries. It's a crazy episode, guys. But just tell me what you think. What's your thought about the Cement Award of 1974, 1975? Don't forget to like, share, comment, and watch out for the next episode on Niger History Vibes with RichsonKing. Thank you.